Hi, this is Aaron again from Epiq Solutions. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get up and running with Libsidekiq on a Raspberry Pi 5 using the new Sidekiq NVM2 radio. I'm going to start with a freshly flashed Pi, which is already taken care of, and that is what I'm recording on right now. And I'm going to walk through how to install Libsidekiq. I should point out that even though the installer I'm going to show was originally intended for our Jetson platforms, I'm able to adopt it for the Pi. So just pointing that out. Along the way, we'll make some other necessary tweaks to the Raspberry Pi OS and get everything configured. I'll have to do a reboot, and then we'll run a few test scripts from the Libsidekiq SDK that'll confirm the radio is detected and functioning. So really this is just meant as a simple, repeatable starting point for developers and integrators working with Sidekiq on a low swap platform. In a follow-on video, I'll take some additional steps to bring in SOAPy SDR, probably again GR Sidekiq like in the first video, to hook in other open source RF tools. Give you just an idea of my setup. That's why I have the web page pulled up here. I'm actually running a Compute Module 5. You see the picture down below. That's essentially what is in front of me at the moment. There's a NVM2 slotted in. You can see over here the M2 slot, and of course power supply, keyboard, mouse, and such. So let's get going here. I've already downloaded the Jetson installer. We can take a look in the download directory. I have a few things that I've downloaded: the installer, some custom kernel modules, and then just some notes so I remember what changes are needed. So we can have a couple things open here. If we go into our downloads directory, we can see we do have that Jetson installer for the 4.20, which is not the latest Libsidekiq, but that's what I've tested so far on the Raspberry Pi. I'm going to make that executable with a chmod plus X, and we'll go ahead and run this with sudo. It's going to verify the integrity. It's going to ask to specify the username. I did set this Raspberry Pi 5 up so that the username is Sidekiq, so that should be fine there as far as leaving it default. So really home Sidekiq is correct. It's going to install the SDK, but because this isn't the Jetson platform, it's not going to put the modules and kind of automate everything that is needed to bring the radio up. So we're just going to do some things manually, and I'll show that here in a second. While that's finishing up and installing, I should point out too that right now I flashed the CM5, but I've not updated the Raspberry Pi OS because it will bring in a new kernel version. So at least as of the date of, let's see where we at, 31st of July, the official Raspberry Pi installer still came with a 6.12.25 kernel. So, but if you get a newer one, it would take is some newer kernel modules to be built, which Epiq we are happy to provide via our support channel. So we finished the installer. We can see that kernel modules with that kernel version was not found. That's fine. We have our 6. We'll change into our 6.12 directory here, and you'll see that I have some modules that are built there. But really, we got to make another change and a reboot before really any of this is going to do us any good. So I'll expand the box here, and while I'm thinking about it, I'll still show it in the part 2 of this video after the reboot, just to point out the Sidekiq NVM2. This is what I'm talking about, is plugged into the carrier board. Brand new, very impressive what it's capable of doing. Really can have 2 independently or coherently tuned receive paths. You see it also has two transmit independently or coherently tuned as well. So you could look at two different frequencies at the same time. Power consumption just right at that 3.5 watts, 16 bits, still able to look from about 10 megahertz to 6 gigahertz. So very, very impressive and a very small form factor. All right, let's come back to what we're working on at the moment. We'll open up some notes I have here as a reminder how I got this working. And so what we need to do is we're going to edit. Let's see, maybe make this a little bit bigger, easier to see. We're going to edit our, let me think, boot firmware config.txt. You could use VI, Nano, or whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to come down under, probably just put it under all here, and I need to add some additional parameters so that we can have the PCIe interface available. So let's paste this in here. We'll put the all back up here. Let's see, we'll save that. Control O, I'm in Nano. And then we're also going to edit our boot firmware command line text. And we'll add at the end, let's see, we're going to add PCI equals no AE R and PCIe underscore ASPM equals off. I put some explanations here as to what all of these added parameters mean. So just give a minute there to, or a second there or two to see what all those mean. Okay, we'll save this. I believe that is all the changes at the moment we need to make, and so I'll stop recording. All right, I'm back after a reboot here. We're going to take a look and see how our initial setup worked out. All right, LSPCI is showing a signal processor or processing controller. That's a good sign. We're going to change into our downloads directory into, let me make the screen a little bit bigger, into our custom kernel modules directory. And we're going to do a sudo insmod. We'll start with everything but the DMA driver first. We'll do both Sidekiq modules here at the same time. We'll do the skip platform, and then we'll end with the DMA driver. So we got no complaints as far as loading those in. In the future, I'll show how to automate that, and who knows if this possibly becomes a supported installer, then most likely you won't have to do these steps. What else? Something else I should point out too, because I was thinking about it, the NVM2, I believe in Libsidekiq version 4.21 is mentioned as officially supported. So do note that I'm using 4.20 here, but nonetheless, we're still going to show that this works. I just wanted to point that out. So we have our kernel modules loaded. So we'll go into our home Sidekiq directory, look around, and we'll see that Jetson installer installed the image current and the SDK current symlinks there that point to the version 4.20 SDK. And what we want to do is we want to see that this radio is now seen by the Raspberry Pi platform and will initialize. So let's look at our pre-built apps. These are some apps that Epiq provides as far as the SDK, and during the install they're compiled and made available to do various sorts of tests. I'm going to start simple here and we'll do a version test. So what we should get is indication that the radio is seen, initializes, and we're going to get a successful return from this version test. So let's see what we have here. All right, so we can see that it's performed a detection of the card. It sees the card. It sees the Libsidekiq, the FPGA. We get information on the card. What we could also do is do a full test. This will bring the card up and show some more information about it. And what I'm looking for is a successful return on here, which we got as well. So at this point, although the kernel modules had to be manually loaded, we are well on our way to getting additional usage out of the Raspberry Pi by way of the Libsidekiq, and we'll touch on some other things in a follow-on video. Really, I think that's probably it for this video. Again, we verified that Libsidekiq works with the Sidekiq card on a Raspberry Pi 5. I'd say this is a great starting point for embedded SDR development or even rapid prototyping with minimal hardware overhead. Very lightweight platform. I have been doing some testing of such a platform on a drone. I think we will touch on that in the future, but for the next video, I think what I'll do is take it a step further and we'll layer in SOAPy SDR and probably GR Sidekiq again, so that you could start doing some real-time signal processing with tools like GNU Radio or Python or all sorts of other open source applications on such a small platform such as the Pi 5. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the videos so far.